Hello bookworms, it's Jade from Bedtime Bookworm and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to do a Q&A. It's been a little while since I've done a Q&A here, and I thought I'd do one now because I have a few things to celebrate. Back in October, I hit my 6-year booktube anniversary. I posted my very first video way back in 2015, believe it or not. The past 6 years have totally flown by, and I still love making booktube videos as much as I ever did. I also recently, within the last few months at some point, past the 6,000 subscriber mark, so this is also to kind of celebrate that and to let some of my new subscribers get to know me a little bit better. I asked for questions in my Patreon Discord, on Instagram, as well as on the YouTube community tab, so I'm going to try to get through all of them if I can. Okay, let's start with my Patreon Discord questions. First one, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Just off the top of my head, I'd say like Australia or New Zealand because I feel like they're really pretty places to live. Or maybe like Denmark or Norway. I don't know, one of those countries that has like really good maternity leave and that pays for your college and stuff. Was that too logical? I also think living in Canada would be pretty cool. And then as far as like in the US, I think where I would like to live is Colorado. If you could live in any book/fantasy world, which one would you pick? Most book/fantasy worlds aren't the greatest to live in. I want to say the Wheel of Time world just because I love that book series. But if I lived in that world, I would want like a boring life, just like live the peasant life, which also doesn't really sound that fun. You know, it'd be cool to live in a world with dragons. I think that would be one thing that I would really want. A world with dragons, but hopefully one that also feels safe. Which probably doesn't exist. Sill or pattern? This is not a hard answer for me because I would 100% pick pattern. These are two characters/creatures from the Stormlight Archive series. I am 100% team pattern. That might be a bit of an unpopular opinion. I know everybody loves Sill and I love Sill too, but I love pattern more. And if you watch any of my Stormlight Archive videos, I guess specifically like my book diaries, I'm pretty sure I say it in those videos multiple times. 100% I would pick pattern. I just think he's so funny. He cracks me up all the time. What's a book character that everyone loved that you didn't like? Or vice versa, a character that you really liked that everyone hated? I don't feel like I have a lot of unpopular character opinions. I think me liking pattern more than Sill is one of my few unpopular or less popular opinions on characters. I know a lot of people don't like Adolin. This is also from the Stormlight Archive series, but a lot of people also do like Adolin. I definitely like Adolin. Now, I think more people like Adolin than don't like Adolin. I guess I could say Matt. That's another one. A lot of people love to hate Matt from the Wheel of Time series, but also Matt is kind of a lot of people's favorite as well. He kind of grows on you the further you get into the series. A lot of people start the series and they like hate Matt. They're like, I don't understand the hype around Matt. Why does everyone love him? But then by the end of the series, most people do love him and he's a favorite for a lot of people. What would be your idea of going on an adventure? Going to do something without a plan. I love doing this whenever I go on vacations. A lot of people like to plan out their vacation activities like day by day, hour by hour. And I like to just kind of go with the flow, like not plan anything and just see what happens or do whatever I feel like. I like having the flexibility to change my mind. I just really hate super planned vacations. That just feels very stressful because I feel like there's things that I have to do, and if things don't go exactly according to plan, then it's gonna stress me out. So I would much rather just go with the flow and just do whatever I feel like in the moment and not have plans. In another life, what career would you choose? That is a good question. Something that I've actually thought about a lot. While I do love the job that I have, but through my hobbies, I have kind of like thought about other things that I could have done in another life that I might enjoy. Maybe being a bookkeeper because I really like to do my budget. I know that's the nerdiest thing ever, but I update my like home budget once a week, and I really enjoy doing that. Also, all of this like booktube stuff has made me think about maybe I could have been a book editor or an editor of like videos and movies. Like how cool would it have been to work in the movie industry and be an editor for like big movies? As much as I like talking to the camera, I more so enjoy the editing process. I love taking my raw footage, which is usually a mess and really long, and editing it down to like the best parts of it. So you take something that's like kind of like mediocre and turn it into something much more polished. That's kind of why I think I would like book editing. I really enjoy that process of taking something that's like kind of rough and cutting it apart and putting it back together and turning it into something that is so much better than it started out as. In the Wheel of Time universe, who are you? Who is Justin? And who would you want Liam to be? So Justin's my husband and Liam is my 3-month-old son. I want to be Moraine, or at least an Aes Sedai. I've always looked up to Moraine. I love her character. So if I could pick anybody, I think I would pick her. Justin could be Lan, but also I have a romantic relationship with my husband, and Moraine and Lan don't have a romantic relationship. But I would love to be an Aes Sedai and have my husband be my warder. So would I need to be a green Aes Sedai so I could marry my warder? Just with the Aes Sedai bond and everything. So cool. Liam. I just want him to be a happy little boy that lives on a farm, that does not get attacked by Trollocs, and just like lives a happy life. That would be great. Oh, you know what would be cool? If I could be Brigetti and Justin could be Brigetti's lover. I'm forgetting his name. For us to be lovers that are constantly reborn and like fated to be together, that would be really cool. If you could have any fantastical or magical companion, what would it be and why? I really like when characters have a connection with like wolves or dogs and can like talk to them in their heads and stuff. So that exists in 2 of my favorite series, the Wheel of Time series and the Farseer trilogy. I also think dragons, I would love to have some sort of relationship with a dragon, so maybe like the Fireborn series. And then I recently read The Bone Shard Daughter, and there is a creature, I don't think it has a name, like the species or whatever doesn't have a name, at least not yet, but I want a Menthie. Can I have a Menthie, please? Because they sound adorable and I want one. The whole time I was reading it, me and many other people in my book club, in my Discord, we all wanted Menthies. If you could only eat one food for a week, what would it be? This is not a hard question at all. I would want to eat sushi all day, every day. I love sushi and I don't think I would ever get tired of it. What is your favorite meal from Korea? Graf said he likes bulgogi. I also like bulgogi, but I like kalbi more. It's a different kind of beef. They're like ribs. So I prefer kalbi, but I actually really like a couple of soups. So I have a soup that I really like called sundubu, which is a soup that has really soft tofu. I really like that. And then there's another soup that I really like called doenjangjjigae that also has tofu in it, but it's like a bean paste soup, which sounds really weird, but it's really good. And I have my aunt make it for me all the time because not only can I not cook like at all, I definitely can't cook Korean food. Have you always been an avid reader? Yes, I pretty much have always been an avid reader. I just remember starting in like the 3rd grade, constantly checking out books from my school library. When I was in the 4th grade, we had this program at our school called Accelerated Reading, or AR, and it's where you would read certain books and then you take like a quiz, and it's just questions about the plot to like make sure you really read it. And then depending on how long the book was or how difficult of a book it was, they were worth different amounts of points. And when I was in the 4th grade, I don't remember how many points I got, but I got the most points in the whole school, including all the 5th graders. My school went from kindergarten to 5th grade. But yeah, I just remember I had the most points by the end of the year, and that's kind of my claim to fame. I've just always loved reading. Was there a specific book that got you into reading? I'd say the first things that kind of got me into reading, like the first series I ever read, were the Little House on the Prairie books by Laura Ingalls Wilder. And then after that, what really got me into fantasy books, my first fantasy book series that I loved were the Redwall books by Brian Jacques. Is that his name? The first one is Redwall, and then it goes from there. And I recently learned that the book series is a lot longer than when I stopped. I think I stopped reading after like 10 or 12 books, and now there's like 20 or something. But that is a fantasy series about woodland creatures that talk and fight. It has kind of like a medieval type of setting, and I really enjoyed that book series when I was younger. I definitely want to revisit those. Oh, this is a good question. If there was a book perfectly written specifically to your taste, what would it feature? Like characters, tropes, writing style, magic system, etc. I love the chosen one trope. I love prophecies, especially when the prophecy isn't what it seems. Like it can be interpreted in different ways. I love hard magic systems, so you can see why Wheel of Time is one of my favorite series, because it has all of those things. Favorite comfort movie, TV show, or video game? Well, it doesn't say books. I was gonna say Wheel of Time. But there is a TV show coming out, so maybe that will be my favorite comfort TV show eventually. But I don't usually rewatch things, so in that sense I don't have like a comfort TV show or movie. Yeah, I don't really have one. Talent you always wished you had. Does being able to talk to animals count? Ever since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to be able to communicate with animals. When I was 4th grade-ish, I read Dr. Dolittle, which is about a doctor who can talk to animals. After that, I was convinced that I could talk to animals if I just tried hard enough. And I just remember sitting outside and watching flocks of birds fly around, or like birds landing on my fence, and just like focusing so hard, just trying so hard to talk to them. I didn't have any pets at the time. And I would sit outside for hours trying to talk to birds in my head. I guess that kind of goes back to my animal or magical creature companion question, how I just want to be able to talk to dogs or wolves. I just think it's so cool, or would be so cool, to be able to talk to animals. It's not really a talent, but it is a talent I wish I had. What's your favorite quotable line from Mean Girls? I have to say, I don't have one. Although I do love that line from the blonde girl who's kind of like, plays like a dumb character. She says, it's like ESPN, or, hold on, what is the quote? It's like I have ESPN or something. My breast can always tell when it's going to rain. I think that's one of my favorite quotes from that movie. What book are you most excited to read with your son in the future? Back in the day, I would have very easily and nonchalantly said Harry Potter, but now I have mixed feelings about that. I don't know if you can see, but back there I do have a collection of the illustrated versions because I started collecting them before J.K. Rowling became so controversial. I purposely was getting the illustrated versions because I wanted to like read them with my kids one day, and now I just don't know. I mean, I still want to, but I also don't want to like support her at the same time. I have so many good memories of reading the Harry Potter books growing up, but other than that, I think my next answer is going to be the Redwall series. I loved reading the Redwall series growing up, and it really like engendered my love for fantasy. It's been a very long time since I've read them, so I don't know if they would live up to my standards now, but I think that I would enjoy them enough to read them with my kids, or with my kid. I don't know if I'm having more kids, but with my son. Ooh, Stephanie asked me what's my favorite Wheel of Time book. It's really hard for me to pick just one, but I can narrow it down to a few. For a long time, I would say that Eye of the World was my favorite just because it's the beginning. It's the one I've read the most. It's just the start of everything, and I love that. I also really, really love book 4 because that's where the world really opens up, and there's just a few reveals in book 4 that I really love. I mean, you can't beat the ending. I've only read the ending once, book 14, but so much stuff goes down in book 14. So many plot threads are being wrapped up. It's the ending, kind of like the beginning. Like you can't beat it, right? I've only read it once. I definitely want to read it again. I will be reading it again. So one of those three, I would say, are my favorites. What is your favorite thing about the new Wheel of Time series that you have seen in the promotional material? I love that they are focusing on Moraine so much because she is my favorite character, or one of my favorite characters of the series. No, I think she's my favorite character. I love Moraine. I've always loved Moraine. I think that's partially because I started reading the series at such a young age when I was just like 14, and I just like love the mentor figure that she is. So I love that angle that the show is taking. I just honestly have loved everything that I've seen. I love that Logain is going to have a bigger impact on the early part of the show because he is a super interesting character. I love the way that they are showing the magic, the one power. I've always wondered what that would look like, and it doesn't look exactly like what I would have imagined. I imagined a lot more looking like cloth weaving sort of thing, but I think what they do on the show is going to work really well. And I think the Trollocs look amazing. The Myrddraal look really scary. One thing that surprised me about the Myrddraal in the promotional material is their teeth. I don't know why, but in my head, their teeth did not look like that. They didn't have that many teeth. Their teeth are terrifying. Like, yes, not having eyes, the eyeless, that's terrifying, but that mouth is terrifying. So I'm just excited to see all of it come to life on screen. Okay, so those are all my Patreon questions. I'm going to pull up my questions from my YouTube community tab. How are you adjusting to motherhood? What's been the best and worst part of the journey so far? Adjusting to motherhood has been an adjustment, and not all of it has to do just with having a baby and becoming a mom. First of all, I want to say sleep deprivation is real. I'm someone who loves to sleep, and I've always bragged about my ability to sleep anywhere and at any time. Like, I'm really good at napping. I have never really had insomnia. If I want to go to sleep and I'm tired, I can go to sleep like that. Like, it has never been a problem. That's still true. But I've also been someone who always needs like 8 hours of sleep to really feel good and feel comfortable. That is still true, so that's been a bit of a struggle, not getting that much sleep. It's a little bit better now that I'm at like 3 months out, but I know sleep is going to continue to go up and down over the next years. Sleep and taking naps is definitely my biggest form of self-care right now. I've really learned and realized that I'm a better mom when I've had more sleep. Like, I'm more patient, I'm less frustrated, and I'm more fun. Like, I have the energy to smile and laugh and play, whereas if I am low on sleep, then I'm like a zombie and I'm just kind of like going through the motions and not being very interactive. So sleep is very important. But other than that, I have a health thing going on that was discovered the day of my delivery. I haven't really talked about it a lot on my channel yet, but I do plan to make a video about it, and that has been like an added stressor, like a really big added stressor to my postpartum experience that I and nobody else was expecting. I hate to be so vague. More info on that coming soon. But other than that, motherhood has been really great. Honestly, we got so lucky. He's super chill. He hasn't been very like gassy or colicky. Like, he hardly ever cries or fusses. He does a little bit. I mean, every baby does. But we've been really lucky that he sleeps pretty well. He eats well. He's just a happy, chill baby. And that has been a really big positive over the last few months. What are some of your favorite videos that you have made? My most recent video, that was the reaction to the Wheel of Time trailer, I really loved making. All of my Wheel of Time content I really enjoyed. I also really like my book diary videos. I did a lot of book diaries for the Stormlight Archive series leading up to the release of Rhythm of War, the newest book, and just like capturing my emotions as I'm reading those books is so much fun. Like, I had so much fun editing those, and then being able to talk like full spoilers with people is really cool too, because that's not something you always get to do on BookTube. I love making full spoilery videos. You can really dig in deep when you're talking full spoilers, and that's my favorite thing to do. It's just hard to do because you're obviously limiting your audience when it comes to those videos. Is there anything you wish you had done when you had started your channel? No, Not really. I mean, I wish I'd been a little more consistent and things like that. This is a hobby and I just do it when I can. I know that I will never be one of those channels that has hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I've been here for 6 years, as this video is celebrating 6 years on BookTube. And while I don't have a small channel anymore, I mean, in the grand scheme of YouTube, it's still small, but I'd say in BookTube, it's probably closer to medium sized. But there are definitely a lot of other channels out there who have grown a lot faster than me, but I'm okay with that because I'm not here to be a big channel. I'm just here to share what I'm reading and what I think about what I'm reading. What are your comfort TV shows or TV shows that you watch repeatedly? And like I said earlier, I don't have one. I don't really watch shows over and over, or even movies over and over. There is one movie that I've seen multiple times. It's my favorite movie ever. So like, I guess the closest thing I have as an answer to this is the movie Cloud Atlas. That is my all-time favorite movie. It's kind of a weird movie, so I don't think a lot of people will relate to that, but it is my favorite movie ever. Oh, I guess I could say TV show wise, maybe Friends. I watched the heck out of Friends when I was a teenager. Sometimes when I just need a good laugh, I will find an episode of Friends somewhere on TV because it's on, I swear, like all the time. It'll put a smile on my face. Yeah, I guess that's the closest answer I have. Which fantasy series have you ever wanted to try but never began? You know what? I'm gonna say Malice by John Gwynne. So many of my friends love that series, and the things that they say about it make it sound like something I would really enjoy, but I still haven't started it, and I don't know why. I've put it on multiple TBRs, and I just haven't gotten around to it, but it's one that I really have my eye on, and I'm super excited to be reading soon. If you could have any fictional character as a roommate, who would you choose? As a roommate? Interesting question. Who would make a good roommate? What I should pick for an answer to this is someone who can cook, because as I've sort of mentioned, I don't cook, I can't cook, and so having someone who can cook for me would be really good, but I can't think of a character who is like known for being a good cook. So my next best answer is I'm gonna go with Loyal from the Wheel of Time series. He's an ogier. It's a type of, what is it called? A species? He's not human. He's an ogier. Anyways, he loves to read and loves to learn and study things. And I just think we'd have really interesting conversations, and we could have like late night reading sessions and reading sprints together and stuff. I think I would love to live with Loyal. And which fictional character would you not be able to live with? Matt? I guess I'm just thinking about Wheel of Time here. Okay, let's think not Wheel of Time. I have a character from the Live Ship Trader series. I 1000% could not live with Malta Vestrit. That is Althea's niece in the Live Ship Trader series. If you guys have read that trilogy, you know. She drives me absolutely nuts, and in the second book, I just wanted to shake her so many times. But she also has an interesting plot line. But I definitely 1000% could not live with her. And then the last YouTube community tab question is, what's your baby's name and why is it a character from Wheel of Time? My baby's name is Liam, so not a character from the Wheel of Time. So I'm going to turn this question around a little bit and instead say, if I was to name a child or use a name from the Wheel of Time, like what name would I pick? And that would definitely be Perrin. I definitely wouldn't want to pick a name that is like so out there and strange. That sounds very like fantasy. Like I wouldn't want to name my daughter Nynaeve or Egwene. I just feel like those would be really difficult names for other people. I am very curious what sorts of Wheel of Time names are going to show up on the baby name list once the show becomes popular, because that is definitely a thing that happens. But I would stay away from those names. Elaine is obviously just like a normal name. So if it was a girl, I guess maybe Elaine. And then out of the boys, like I don't love the name Rand. Matt is kind of a super normal name, except it's with one T. Matrim, I guess, is the full name. I wouldn't name a kid that. Perrin is something that I would consider naming a child, though. So I would pick that out of the Wheel of Time names. Okay, Instagram. Last place to get questions. Favorite reading weather: sunny, rain, brisk, or blizzard? I do love to read inside when it's raining outside, like having that sound as the backdrop is just like so nice and cozy. But I also love to read on the beach. So sunny for that. But if it was sunny outside, I would only want to be reading at the beach, not just like at a park or something. Or actually, I like to read by the pool. So I like to be close to water where I can go and cool off if I get too hot. When I lived in Southern California, I would go to the beach and read there, and I loved doing that. But I also loved going to the pool, and while I don't have access to a pool right now, when I did, I loved going down to the pool and just like laying out and reading and then dipping in the pool every once in a while. So sunny and rain are the two weathers that I like to read in. If you could change a protagonist of any novel with Rand Althor, which would you change? I don't have an answer for this because I don't think I would want to change anyone to Rand, because I feel like Rand, I don't know, he doesn't always take a whole lot of agency, which I think is a complaint a lot of people have about him, but I do still like him. I don't have a good answer for that one. Would you ever read a Star Wars Legends book? And the answer is yes. I do enjoy the Star Wars movies, but I haven't read any of the Star Wars books. I believe there's one written by Rae Carson. I know she's written a Star Wars book, and I think it is one of the Legends books. I'm not super well versed in the Star Wars book universe, but I definitely want to read the one by Rae Carson because I like her other books. I like her writing. Who is your favorite Expanse character? Avasarala is definitely one of my favorite characters. She's just such a strong female character, but honestly, I'm pretty basic. I like Holden. I really like Amos. Amos has some of the best and funniest lines in the series. And I also really like Naomi. I just like the main characters. Alright guys, that brings us to the end of this Q&A. Hopefully now you feel like you know me a little bit better. Thank you guys for all of your support and for getting me to 6,000 subscribers, and here's to another 6 years or more on BookTube, because I really like making BookTube videos and talking about books and other things on this channel. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content. That is all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bookworms, keep reading. Bye.